Counter-Strike skins have just experienced the worst crash ever in the history of the game. Billions of dollars have been stripped from the game's market cap in a matter of hours. It is so cataclysmic, people have died. But underneath the surface, there is a lot more to this crash than meets the eye. What's happening here isn't really natural. Skins have been in a weird spot for a long time, and in many respects, this crash is pretty much just gravity catching up to them. So how about they have Valve the market? What's it done to people, and what does it mean for the future? Well, let's get into things. Now, this video is not sponsored because it is going to deal with some dark stuff. If you do feel like you need some help right now, there is some very helpful information in the pinned comment. So let's just start by explaining what's going down. Basically, Valve have just released an update that gives people the ability to trade up for knives. This is kind of a cool feature on paper, but in practice, it has caused absolute pandemonium on the market with people panic dumping all their skins. So let's check out just how bad this is. So if we go to the price empire trending over here, basically the market has lost essentially half its value in 2 days. All-time high was 6 billion just up here, now it's 3 billion. That's a crash. That's a very big crash. Switching to the esports 5300, which is another graph I like. This is a bit like the S&P 500 for Counter-Strike skins. It's gone from 51,000 to about 27,000. So that's not quite 50%, but it's still a very big hit. You can even see a small dead cat bounce in here. Wow, that didn't last, that definitely didn't recover. Now, Esports Fire has a bunch of other graphs, as you can see, but they're all showing pretty much the same thing. The market has just tanked. Everything's been hit. High tiers appear to be the worst. Looking at this, they've gone from 105,000 to 44,000, so that's more than 50%. Play skins, again, they've tanked. Agents have been hit. Agents have been hit really hard, which is interesting because agents shouldn't have been affected by this. This has nothing to do with agents. If we check out charms, they're up for some reason. Well, there you go, awesome. So let's have a look at this in more detail. The crash started in China and it crashed pretty hard. Certain high-end knives immediately lost about 80% of their value. You can see on Price Empire how highly desirable knives like butterflies were hit really bad right after the update, and while they've gone a bit further down now, most of the damage was done in the first couple of hours. But while high-end knives were crashing, the stuff you could use to trade up for them was pumping. Most of the skins I've been looking at seem to have gone up about 400% almost instantly. While one set of skins was burnt, another skyrocketed. However, at the same time, the rest of the market immediately began to sink. For example, cases immediately started plummeting on the Steam market. Now, initially I think this was because of people quick selling so they could afford reds for trade-ups. Third-party sites weren't immediately affected when it came to cases, I know because I was selling on them, but within about 24 hours, this was metabolizing into a broader market meltdown, and soon enough, we were onto day 2 of the crash, which has hit pretty much everything. Cases, knives, weapon skins, everything. A good example of this is something like the Orb Gungnir, which in theory shouldn't be affected by the meltdown, but it is down about 30% anyway. Now, at this point I do need to make a confession. Yesterday I made 2 bold proclamations. One was that skins wouldn't be affordable even after this, and the other was that the crash was over. Clearly, I was wrong, and we're at the point where some of the gloves on the market are starting to look almost free. But we do need to look into why this crash has been so bad in the first place, because in theory, this update shouldn't have affected prices. Knives should have gotten cheaper and reds should have gotten more expensive, but that should have been it. Instead, the market has died, and that is a bit strange. Now, to answer this question, we actually need to look at why skins got so expensive in the first place. Why did skins add about $4 billion in market cap over the past couple of years? We've only gone back down to where we were at the beginning. It's not some massive fundamental change. Skins were here not this long ago. And the answer lies with where the meltdown started. It's China. China is the reason skins got so expensive, and China is the reason they're now melting the fuck down. It's been very well documented over the past few years how the Chinese scene has been pumping obscene amounts of money into skins as investments. Your options are a bit more limited if you're in China, so skins seem like a decent bet over there. This has increased the net value of skins by billions, and we've seen all kinds of ridiculous inventories chock full of random skins someone's decided to buy up, and recently it has just been at absurd levels. levels. But now that there's been a massive shake up to the market, it turns out a lot of these investors have rice paper hands. Essentially, we've just seen the entire Chinese scene leave the market overnight. That is why this crash has happened. Now, these guys will be back, but for now we need to talk about the human impact. You see, one of the problems with this investment craze is that people have been investing their entire financial future into pixels in a video game. You might say that's unwise, but people still do it, and it's not even the dumbest investment decision you'll see on the internet. But because so many people have been relying on this market, the fact that it's imploded is really bad. And very quickly after the update dropped, there were reports of people falling from high places that are unfortunately not in Minecraft. In fact, according to one source, the death toll is 15. I am a little bit skeptical of that number, but there is one fairly well documented case of this happening. Now, looking at this guy's story, it's definitely a nexus of less than ideal decision making and various other issues all contributing. I'm not an expert, but I would imagine this is fairly typical of situations like this. But regardless, this has been an outcome of this update, and it's obviously very sad to see. What can we do about stuff like this? Honestly, I don't know. Should protecting investors hold back now from making changes to skins that they want to make? I mean, maybe to some extent, but what's the limit on that? I don't have an answer to this, but it is definitely nuts that skins have gotten to the point where stuff like this is happening. And this brings me to the final issue of the video. What happens from here? Are we in post-China Counter-Strike? Well, I have two things to say about this. Firstly, the number of golds that can be traded up due to this update is completely insufficient to tank the market long term. There just aren't enough inputs, and golds can only go down so much because of this change. Now, none of that will matter if the entire continent of China has freaked the fuck out and abandoned skins. So the real billion-dollar question we actually need to ask is, will people regain confidence in the market? Now, my answer here is a simple one. It's a yes. We currently live in a world where there is too much money and not enough stuff to invest it in, and until that changes, I have zero doubt people will be back to snap up bargains on the skins market once this all settles down. I mean, think about the S&P 500 over the last year. Donald Trump is like a porn star with his tariffs. In and out, in and out, in and out. What's the stock market done? It's gone up. It's gone up a lot, people don't care, and it's going to be the same deal with skins. People have freaked out for now, but they will be back. And while it will be a very long road back to the previous all-time highs, I am 100% confident there is going to be a road. Anyway, that's pretty much it for this video. If you've enjoyed it, please like, comment, and subscribe, massively appreciated. Otherwise, trust the numbers, not your guts. I'm Heyzeus, thanks for watching, see ya.